In this video, I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks and hidden features that I think you'll appreciate the most if you're a new Samsung Galaxy owner, and even more so if you've just made the switch from an iPhone, because some of these tweaks are inspired by iOS. But a lot of the stuff that I'm going to show you in this video is not possible on an iPhone. And if an iPhone user sees you using these, they might be like, and there is one hidden feature here that's a true game changer that not many people know even exists, and I've not heard anyone else talk about. Anyway, here are 17 Samsung Galaxy beginner tips that I wish someone had showed me on day one. Okay, this one is something I use pretty much every day now, and it's actually inspired by something I like about the iPhone. And to set it up, all you need to do is this: go to your settings, go to advanced features, and go to side button. Here you can map the double tap on the side key to open an app of your choosing. On the iPhone, a double tap on the side key opens the Apple Wallet. So if you've just made the switch from an iPhone, it makes a lot of sense to switch this to either Samsung Wallet or Google Wallet, whichever one you prefer. Or you could even select something else entirely, which is something that Apple would just never let you do. And honestly, guys, if you're only going to use one of the tips in this video, this should be the one because it's so useful. Okay, so this one's slightly more advanced and there might be a bit of a feeling out process for you to get this right. So here's an important question for you. When it comes to adjusting the volume on your phone, do you use the volume rocker by holding your finger down, or do you tap to make the adjustments? And you'll see why this is an important question in a moment. So keep that answer in mind as we go into this tip. Now, we have to find an app on the phone. It's pre-installed on every Samsung Galaxy. It is called the Galaxy Store. And it looks like this. Within the Galaxy Store, we're going to search for Good Lock, and it will look like this. Install this app, and in the Life App section on this app, you're going to see the Routines Plus module. So we want to install this. And now that this is installed, we don't have to do anything here. We just go back to the home page, and now we're going to search for the Modes and Routines app. Now, once you open up the Modes and Routines app, you'll notice the little plus at the top corner here. Here we can create a new routine. First, tap the plus next to the if statement, scroll all the way to the bottom, and here you'll notice a new section which has the Routines Plus shortcuts. And the one we're going to use for this is the button action. So here we can now map an input to the volume up or volume down, and we can also choose whether it's double push or hold. Now, I've discovered the hard way that I'm the type of person who adjusts the volume by tapping. So in this case, I'm going to use the push and hold, and we're going to map the up key. Now that's step one. Step two is to choose what happens next. So what we can do here is scroll down to the app section, tap on apps, and here we're going to want to open an app. And I'm going to choose my favorite music streaming app, which is Tidal. And I could search for it, or I could just type it in here, which is a lot quicker. Because it's a music app, I'm going to set a musical note as the icon for it. You can actually use a gallery image for this if you prefer, or take a new photo. But I'm just going to go with the stock ones. Choose a color, hit done. And that routine is now created. So now whenever I want to open Tidal very quickly, all I need to do is hold up on the power button, and there we go, it jumps straight into Tidal. And if you want to go one step further, you can map the down hold as well. I've set this up to open ChatGPT. So like I said before, what kind of person are you when it comes to adjusting volume? I'm definitely the tapping type. But if you're the push and hold type, then you might want to use the taps for these shortcuts. Okay, so if you've got a newer Samsung Galaxy device, then you will have Galaxy AI on board. And it's very useful and very simple to use. And the circle to search feature is fantastic. And to use it, simply hold your finger down on either the home button, if you're using the button setup, or the line at the bottom of the screen if you're using gestures. The screen lights up and then you can circle around anything to search it. It's very easy to do. But one thing you will probably notice here is that when you hold your finger down to start the circle to search, the Google search bar pops up as well. So this does mean that you don't necessarily have to have the Google search bar right here on the home screen anymore. So we can get rid of this and actually free up some space if we want to. Okay, now to expand on the circle to search skill, there is something else that's very handy built into Circle to Search. If for some reason you come across some foreign text on a website, the Circle to Search feature also has a quick translation tool built into it so that you can circle that bit of foreign text and pretty much anything else and instantly translate this into your language, and it will highlight the text so you can copy it if you need to. And this is very useful when traveling abroad. This next one is something I get asked about almost every day now. See this clock right here? This is not the stock Galaxy clock. It's actually the official Google Pixel clock. And if you like how this looks and you want to get it for yourself, you can send me some money. I just need about $3.50.
I need about $3.50.
$3.50.
Okay, I'm only joking. It's completely free, and the colors of this clock will match the UI theme that you've chosen for your device. So you can play around with it to get the colors right. To get this clock, all you need to do is go to the Google Play Store, search for Google Clock, make sure it's the one that's created by Google, install that, and now you'll have the official Google Pixel clock widget. And to add the widget to your home screen is very easy to do. Just hold your finger down on an empty space. At the bottom, you'll see widgets here. Search for the Google Clock that you just installed. And here you'll see all the options that you have. The one that I always use is this one here. And there we go, job done. Now, if you just followed the last step and installed the Google Clock, you have now unlocked another customization tweak that I always get asked about. This one is particularly useful if you're the type of person who charges your phone overnight. Go to your settings, go to display, and here, scroll all the way to the bottom to screensaver. Now you'll have the option to select the Google Clock as your screensaver. And if you jump into the settings here, you can switch the style from analog to digital if you want. And you can also enable the night mode. This will dim the display very, very low when in screensaver mode. However, I do find this a bit too dim, so I leave this off. And once you set this up, if you go back one step, you can actually preview how this will look. So this is how it will look without the extra dim setting on, which for me is dark enough even at night. And with this enabled, you will be able to see if there are any alarms set and what time they're actually set for. You wouldn't want to be partying too hard one night and oversleep and miss a return flight back home and end up paying close to $1,000 because you forgot to set an alarm, would you? I mean, what kind of idiot would do that? Okay, so here's a couple of settings that might be switched off on your phone straight out of the box, and they are very useful camera settings. So check this out. Open your camera. In the top left corner, you'll see the settings icon here for the camera app. If you scroll down, you will see this setting here, tracking autofocus. Enable this, and now that it's enabled, you can lock the focus onto a moving subject within the field of view. And this is particularly useful when taking photos when there might be lots of other people in the background, because the phone's camera AI will lock onto faces that it thinks you might be wanting to take photos of. This is a problem, especially if there's someone photobombing in the background. To use it, all you need to do is tap the point of focus that you want it to lock onto, and the phone's autofocus will stop searching the background for other faces and just track that point of focus that you highlighted. And something else you might find useful here is if you tap and hold on the screen, you can lock the focus in place. And once you do this, you can slide left and right to manually adjust the exposure if the lighting isn't quite right for your subject. Now, this one is kind of similar to the photo one, but this one's for video. And it might be one of those features that's right there in front of your face, but maybe you've never used it before because you don't know what it does. So open the camera, go to video, and in the bottom right corner, you'll notice the dot with a square around it. This will only appear if you've turned on the tracking setting in the previous tip. Now, when you tap on this, your phone's camera will lock onto the subject and kind of punch in a little bit as well. So there's a bit of buffer space all around what you're locked onto. And with this tracking feature enabled, your phone will seamlessly zoom in and out to keep the subject in the frame as best as possible. And because it does zoom in when you enable this means you can have the phone in a fixed position, for example, on a tripod, and it will still have space to move the camera angle around without losing the subject that you're trying to film. So here's another very useful time-saving tip, and this one is actually exclusive to the Samsung Galaxy Internet browser. Now, I'll be honest, I'm more of a Chrome user personally, but I do keep the Samsung Internet app on one of my home screens for this very reason. If you're researching or reading websites, you could read the entire page, or you could use Galaxy AI to do it for you and summarize all of the information. So let's say you're reading up on some quantum physics and you want to keep it simple. All you need to do is hit the little sparkly star icon at the bottom of the page here and hit summarize. Now this will read the entire page for you and summarize it into some nice tidy bullet points. Now if it has oversimplified the page, you can actually go one step further to make it a bit more detailed. To do this, all you need to do is hit this little icon in the top right corner here and select detailed. It will then reread that page and it will expand on those bullet points for you. Okay, here's another very useful Galaxy AI feature. It is indeed the voice recorder. So if you don't see this on any of your home screens, just swipe up, type in voice recorder, and you should find it straight away. I do recommend you add this to one of your home screens so that you have quick access to it in the future. So when it comes to being productive, your Galaxy phone has the ability to live transcribe meetings and presentations, and then the real game changer is just like the complicated website trick that I just showed you. The Samsung Voice Recorder app can transcribe speech into text and then summarize that text for you. Now, something that's very important here is that the maximum speech to text recording time at present is just 10 minutes. So if you're in a meeting or a lecture, you'll have to be awake enough to stop and start the recordings every 10 minutes, but still that's probably less effort than actually paying attention. All right, now here are a set of useful tools that my guess is not many people actually use or even know about. When your phone is locked, if you tap the clock, you'll notice there are widgets available here. And when you scroll to the bottom, you'll see the settings for these widgets. Now here you can tick and untick the widgets that would be most useful for you. And based off of how useful the voice recorder feature now is with the AI, I would recommend adding it to the top of your lock screen widgets. And to do this, just hit reorder and then you can drag up and down the different widgets that are available. Now with this set up, whenever you lose focus, you can tap the clock and start recording the audio without even needing to unlock the phone. And then later on, when you find the time, you can go into the voice recorder app and transcribe all of the recorded audio to text and then summarize it so that you have a record of everything that was said. Now, by default, your Galaxy phone will be using the Samsung Galaxy keyboard. And honestly, I find the predictive text a little bit better on Google's Gboard. And if you're coming over from iOS, the Gboard might be more familiar to you. However, there's some fantastic features here on the Galaxy keyboard, so I often switch back and forth between the two, depending on what I'm writing. But here's one very good reason why I still use the Galaxy keyboard a lot. It's the built-in AI writing assistant. So let's say you're writing a social media post and it just doesn't seem to be flowing right. What you can do is highlight the text that you want to improve, hit the sparkly stars, and then choose an appropriate style for it to rewrite it in. This is brilliant. And there are tons of other cool features within the Galaxy keyboard, and the amount of customization you can do is crazy. I have made an entire video about Good Lock and how you can customize the keyboard. I'll link that at the end. But here's a little bonus trick that not many people know. I call this the Jedi swipe. If you use 2 fingers and swipe from right to left, you can undo the last thing you wrote. And if you swipe with 2 fingers from left to right, you can redo the text. All right, so remember the lock screen widgets where you tap the clock? Here's another suggestion for you that could be very helpful in the future, and that is to add the routines widget. So you can go to your settings here, you'll need to unlock the phone, make sure your routines widget is switched on. Now, when you set this widget up for the first time, it will probably be empty. It won't look like this, it will just be a black bar. So what we now need to do is create some modes and routines which are tailored for the way in which you use your phone. To do this, all you need to do is find the Modes and Routines app. You can search for it just by typing it in here. I've added it to this page. This is what it looks like, just in case you forgot. And as you can see, these are the modes and routines that I've set up already. Just to walk you through how to easily do this, all you need to do is hit the plus at the top. Here, go to If, and set it to set manually. Now, the next thing you need to do is select what happens when you activate the mode. And there's so many settings here. It's actually crazy how many things you can activate and deactivate when you enable a mode. I'm going to go into one of the ones that I've already created to show you how I've set it up. So this is the Yoda mode. When I enable this mode, the eye comfort shield turns on, the screen goes extra dim, and the sound is set to vibrate, and all of the other noises are set to 0. I also changed the wallpaper to the Yoda wallpaper, and also the lock screen wallpaper is changed. And when I first toggle this on, there'll also be a green lighting effect around the outside. And by default, it will undo all of these steps when you turn it off. So don't mess with when the routines ends unless you really want to. Now that that's set up from the lock screen, I can tap the clock and enable the Yoda mode, and straight away, all of those settings kick in. So I've set this one up specifically for nighttime. If right before bed, I want to use the phone and I don't want to blind myself and I want to keep everything very comfortable and minimal. And when the mode is active, you'll see a little dot above it. You can switch it off at any time just by tapping that and it'll go back to your original setup. So you can get really, really advanced with modes and routines. But what I recommend you do just to keep things simple is have at least 3 modes. One for when you're working and you need to stay focused on what you're doing, and this will help you stay in that flow state. And then one for nighttime, like the Yoda mode, which you can use when you're in bed and it's a dark room and you don't necessarily need the phone to be on maximum brightness and loudspeaker and everything like that. And then possibly you could set up one like this one, the gaming mode, where it actually turns on all of the performance tweaks. And that's what I've done here. So once you've got this all set up nicely, you'll have your specific modes ready to go right there from the lock screen. For example, this one here, the gaming mode, I've set this to enable all of the boost features so that the phone's running at optimal speeds. It immediately launches into the gaming hub so I can jump into a game like this. So I know all of the maximum performance settings are enabled straight away. I've also set up a quiet mode. So this is basically just like muting the phone, except it changes a few other features as well. So when I enable this, the wallpaper will change and it will mute everything that's on the device whilst in a meeting or a conference call or something like that. And then one of the reasons I always change the wallpaper for these modes and routines is so that I know what mode it's in just by looking at the home screen. Now, once you've set up your modes and routines, you can then do this next tip, and that is to add the routines widget. You definitely shouldn't try and do this before setting up the modes and routines because they won't show up here if you do. And once you've got them all ready to go, just hold your finger down on the home screen, go to widgets here, scroll down till you see modes and routines. And then you have a few options. The one that I like the best is this one. And you can see whenever there's a mode active, there'll be a little blue dot next to it to say it is indeed active. And we can switch it on and off whenever we want now from the lock screen and also from the home screens if you need access to them while the phone's open. Okay, so this next one is particularly useful if you have one of the bigger Samsung phones, for example, one like this, the Ultra. Go into your settings, scroll down to advanced features, and here, scroll down until you see one-handed mode. Make sure that this is enabled. And depending on what your preferred navigation method is, make sure that box is also ticked here. Now, using gestures, you may need to practice this input a little bit. It is a small swipe down pretty much on that lower icon there to the bottom of the screen to shrink the display. And then you can tap an empty space to expand it. So you got to get the hang of this because sometimes you'll bring down the notification shade if you do it wrong. But once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy to do. And also when you swipe it down, you can swap the sides. So if you're left-handed, you'd want it to be on this side. If you're right-handed, you'd want it to be on this side. And if you're ambidextrous, lucky you. Okay, now that feature that no one seems to be talking about, it is a game changer quite literally. Do this, go to your Galaxy store, and here we want to search for Game Plugin. And it will look like this, and it is an official Samsung Electronics app. Once you've installed it, open it up, and straight away you'll see there's a bunch of tools here that weren't available within the default software. And these are designed to give you a gaming edge. So you have things like aim assist. You can view the performance of your device while playing. You can set the priority mode so your phone is on the optimal settings. And there's also Game Clock and GIF Creator here available. Now, the most useful one here, in my opinion, is Game Booster Plus. If you tap on this, you can now switch the settings per game. For example, let's say I want to tweak the settings for Call of Duty Warzone. I can dive into this setting here. I can leave it on auto mode if I wanted to, but if you go custom, you can change the performance options, the graphics quality and the frames per second, and you can lock the brightness at a specific point if you want to. And this one is a huge one. It is the frame booster option. This is where the phone will use AI to add extra frames into games so that they appear to be running more smoothly. This is going to be even more useful for games that only support 60 frames per second, for example. And there are a ton of features within the Game plugin from Samsung that nobody seems to know about. So I'm not going to go into all of them right now. Instead, I'll let you guys play around with them if you are a gamer. Test them out and let me know if you find anything good here. Okay, so the last feature is a well-hidden one, and it's very, very useful if you want to get the fastest internet possible to your device and also all of your other devices on your home network. Check this out. Go into your settings, go to Wi-Fi, go to connections, then tap on your Wi-Fi, and in the top right corner hit the 3 dots, and then here you'll see intelligent Wi-Fi. At the bottom of this page you'll see intelligent Wi-Fi and the version. Right now it's on 6.0.0. If you tap this continuously, it will open a new setting called the Connectivity Labs, and these tools are super useful. So once you open Connectivity Labs, you'll see you have a bunch of information here about your Wi-Fi network at home. Now, one of the best things to do here is to scroll down and go to this tool, the Home Wi-Fi Inspection. Now, this will take you step by step through how to test your home Wi-Fi to see what the speeds are in different areas of your house, and it will show you the signal strength as you walk around, and if at any point it dips below this red line, that means that particular area of your house does not have good signal. And if you're seeing that a lot around your home, then you might want to reposition your modem so that you get a better signal everywhere in your house, or you might want to consider potentially buying an extender or a Wi-Fi mesh system. Now, if you are looking into those kind of things, I did look at a very good mesh system a little while back. Drop me a comment if you want a link to that video and I'll send it to you. And since you stuck around all the way to the end of this video, here's one more bonus tip for you guys. This one is fantastic for when you're traveling with family or friends and you want to watch something on your phone and share the audio to another set of earbuds. Now, this will only work if those earbuds support Bluetooth LE, which is a lot of the more modern headphones and earbuds these days. Check this out. Go into your Bluetooth settings, go to details. In the top right corner here, hit the 3 dots and you'll see this broadcast sound using Auracast. Here you can create a name for your broadcast and also a password for the broadcast. And the great thing about this is sending audio out, but no information back. So technically speaking, an unlimited amount of people can join to this audio stream from your device. So if you're watching a movie on your phone, the people either side of you on the airplane have both got Bluetooth LE headphones. They can all listen to the same audio and watch the same film with you from your Samsung Galaxy device. As far as I know, I think the Samsung Galaxies are the only ones using this right now. So it is quite exclusive. It's definitely not available on the iPhone. If you want to go more advanced and dive deeper into customization and more of the hidden features, I've made a bunch of videos about that. They're on screen right now. I appreciate you guys for watching this one, and I will see you in the next one. Don't be late.